Greetings. This is one of my projects that's been sitting around for a while. I got this radio from one of my customers back when I was running a service company. And for 8 years I've had it. And because of the COVID virus, I got serious about working on it. I've refinished the whole thing. This veneer all was bad, so I've replaced all the veneer on the side of the dial and on the top. And of course it's got new speaker grill cloth, and then of course it's got like 6 coats of lacquer, and then cleaned up and put together. It's quite a handsome looking radio at this point. I mean, it's just really nifty. And I had fun working on it. I've basically gone through the entire electronics. You can see it's got a pretty good glare on the top. The finish is really shiny, and it's been a wonderful thing here to be working on. Let me turn on the lights here. This is the radio inside. Like I said, I've gone through all the electronics. It's my cat over there deciding to destroy a chair. In any case, it's called a Beehive speaker. As you can see why. It's got a big acoustic baffle on it. And it's the original electrodynamic speaker. Uses the radio to power the magnet to run the speaker before they had permanent magnets. And it's a tuning eye radio, which has the ability to tune in stations and show you what's happening. But this is amazingly beautiful wood. This is all the veneer I had to add. This was original, but I cleaned it up and had quite a fun time with it. Now, as far as the radio goes, it's called a robot radio. And basically, you have a knob down here that you can tune your stations in, and away you go. This is the pointer dial, and this is the frequency dial. So if you turn up the volume a little bit, you can hear the stations.
The federal government was the ability for agencies to reassign senior executives.
This is our local station here, WTOP. Let me get rid of that background light. Okay. And the radio is really nifty in that it's called a robot radio. Thank you. So if I go to turn the dial from 1500 down to 1300, you can see I have to go a long ways. And that's 1300 right there. I know that because this tuning eye, which is extremely bright, tells you when you're on the station. When you're on the station, it nulls out and makes a very narrow pattern. In any case, this goes from the broadcast band 550 up to 1700. And back in the day, they used to have all the different names of the stations and the countries and police and radio and all that kind of stuff. One of the neat features about this radio is it's called the shutter dial radio. And by changing the bands from AM broadcast to shortwave, or to the other shortwave band, there's 2 shortwave bands, you actually change the dial design. And that works out really neat. Let's see here. Maybe I can get this. Try to get in the Canadian Bureau of Standards.
CHU, Canada. Coordinated Universal Time. 21 hours, 24 minutes.
21 heures, 24 minutes.
So that's the Canadian Bureau of Standards. And then if I go over here, I can probably get to the Americans. Fort Collins, Colorado. Ham radio. And that's WWV, our national time standard. So that's kind of cool. But what's really nifty is the dial has so much detail to it. It's really quite beautiful. And then, of course, as you turn the knob, the pointer dial allows you to tune in very closely. and all that stuff. But if you try to turn the dial a great deal, It takes forever. Watch this knob right here. It's motorized. There's the American Bureau of Standards at 15 megahertz. Or according to this radio, 15 megacycles. Really quite nifty. Then we go back to broadcast band.
So one of the practical steps is whatever commandment.
That's a Warrington station. And this is Leesburg. It's a Chinese station. Then I go to WRC, which is from here to here. Watch the dial. It's crazy.
Last night. Got it. They went from like minus 110 to minus 150 last night. Got it. So the bookmakers, they didn't like that mess. They were not into it.
So you can see that you can tune the radio very easily with cat eye. Unfortunately, the cat eye is so bright that it's hard to really appreciate it, but it's a beautiful green image.
All right, I'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Brad wants to show you 630.
Off station.
ESPN 630, your DC Sports.
On station. So I got this working. Got a volume control, which works well. We got a distance local switch that allows you to take a look at the stations, local or it's got high gain. Right now it's on the distance, and if I put it for local, you can see it's not as sensitive.
Bottom of the ninth in that one.
So if you have a local station, you can use this switch down here to go between local and distance reception, which is kind of nifty. And of course you can see things like up here it says police and all this kind of stuff back from the day. They got stations here, W6XAI. Today that would be a ham call sign. But they have all sorts of things on here. Let's see if I can find anything. Here it is. It's still on the radio today. WLS, world's largest store. Sears broadcasting station in Illinois. And I was listening to Cousin Juicy Brucey on that. But it's just a beautiful piece of old radio. And then, of course, you've got the mechanics of it all. Where this dial here goes quite a distance. And the frequency dial moves very little. So it allows you to get very precise tuning. So if I want to go back to 1500, I just turn the knob, let the motor drive it there. This was tall cotton back in 1937.
Included a relocation. In the cases where it did involve a relocation, additional requirements of notification.
So you can tune it in quite easily. It's very nifty. So that's my 1937 9S262 chassis Zenith radio that I loved when I saw it. I told the customer if I bought it, I was going to restore it. So I need to find them now and get this video to them so that they can see that I've had a good time with it. But the finish and the polish on this just came up magnificently. I mean, you've got all this beautiful mahogany, and I guess this is called burl wood. So, there you have it. But it's just a magnificent old machine. And it's all about, I guess, Art Deco back from the day. I polished up the brass dial on here to give it a little more relief, make it look better. And that came out pretty nifty. So there you have it. Another project into the bag. I got this, like I said, about 8 or 9 years ago, and I worked on it for a while. I got the shutter dial to work, and then I put it aside, built another house, moved, and COVID hit, and then I got about cleaning this thing up. 6 coats of lacquer and sanding and all the little goodies that went with it. Restoring the radio. This is now an icon I shall hang on to in my basement here. It's a lovely old radio, and it's fun to play with. Enjoy. This is Woody.